Hello, my silky and spooky friends. Yeah, guess what I just did? I realized what is going on with my camera. I am having the worst time. I don't know what is going on. Hold on, let me play with my settings here. Let me pull this down to a lower resolution. I have no idea. Y'all. I don't know what's going on with my stuff. Uh, am I looking as weird to y'all as I am to me? Kind of delayed. Am I hardwired in? I don't know. It's so delayed on my end. I am so sorry. This is weird. Um, I haven't gone live in a while, but I should be hardwired in and I should not have this delay. It makes me wonder. Hold on, y'all. I am so sorry. Why why are my settings so weird? By the way, if you are joining me, I am doing a dual stream on Silky and Spooky. And here is the thing. I realize when I dual stream, I do not have an intro that is for both of y'all. So, excuse me. Um, I realized that at the last second. I'm like, uh-oh. But look, here's the thing. We're going to enjoy some Valentine's Day ridiculousness, okay? That's what we're going to do. If you're here on Valentine's night, I'm going to assume, like me, you're single. Now, maybe you're single by choice. I am. I If it comes close to Valentine's Day, okay, within 2 weeks, I am definitely not going to answer anybody who wants to go on a date for Valentine's Day because I know what you're doing. You just don't want to be alone. You're struggling. You want to feel like, you just don't want to be alone for Valentine's Day, and I'm not your answer, buddy. Mm-mm. No, I'm not your consolation prize. So, it's a big no for me, actually. I don't mind at all. I fixed myself, actually, had a friend fix me a big fat steak, which was wonderful. And, I'm having a great Valentine's Day. I'm spending it with y'all, and we're gonna look. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna be a little bit scared. We're gonna say, "Oh my God, I'm so glad that's not me." Um. Oh, Deb said I'll be back in 30 minutes. Okay, Deb. I don't know what's going on, but you enjoy. Hi, Samantha. Good to see you. Um. Hello, Lisa. Let me see. Gano, am I saying that right? Gano, I know you've been here before. Let me say hello, Critter Mama. I feel like that. Boy, am I a critter mama. I got critters everywhere. Good to see y'all. Mary, where's Mary? I missed Mary. Sherry Faye, good to see you. Okay, Kyle, go on. Get out of here. Look, I don't care. You know what? I'm a female who has lived a crazy life. You cannot hurt my feelings. I'm a correctional nurse. If you think you can hurt my feelings, buddy, I won't do it on here, but I can tell you what, I can take you down to your bones. Yeah. Tammy Fayette, good to see you. You are not going to hurt Mary S. Okay, there you are. I knew I skipped over somebody. Good to see ya. All right. Like, I don't claim to have the scariest stories in the world. I don't. Some of them are. Some of them are really spooky. Um, Tonight we are going to have a little something to laugh at, something to feel good at. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk. And I want you to tell me in the comments, like if you can, we're going to talk about some really bad Valentine's Day stuff. Okay. All right. Let me introduce you. If you are new or if you're seeing this new, let me show you. This is Sachi, and she definitely wants to say Happy Valentine's Day. That's my little darling. Um, Sachi, Scully. Well, I guess for y'all, it would look more like this. Scully. Drunk Bob, he's over there. He's in pieces. Like he's out again today. Scully's mad. Miss Scullett, I've tried to tell him. Can't depend on women. Can't depend on men either. Lizzie, she's just hanging out. Um, I'm hard to take serious with that southern twang. Well, then let me tell you, Kyle. That's what the flip the button is for. Flip the channel, okay? I don't care. I really don't care. All right, so if she'll get out of my way, let's start with, and I did a few videos, by the way, before you ask, let me tell you something. This drink right here, my favorite cup, have a killer day. This is glass. Strawberry dragon fruit and soy, is that soy milk? Y'all, it's so good. Hey, Deb. Debbie Cooper, hello to you. Yeah, so here's the thing. Oh, let me take you off there. Let's see. I just don't want to miss anybody while I'm doing this. While I'm saying my hellos. Hope y'all are enjoying the evening. All right. Let's get into it. Let me switch this over. Y'all know Valloween. This was my first year of hearing of Valloween. Valloween is a mix of Valentine's Day and Halloween, which to me has always been a little spooky anyway. Valentine's Day, you never really know what you're going to get. And I think there's always kind of been a blend, right? People kind of tend to put the love and scary tragedy and stuff. So now we have a word for it. People call it different things, but I think the most common is Valloween, or Spooky Valentine's Day. Yes, darling. Anyway, so I kind of introduced that to you. So I'm going to show you a few things, and I really liked this one. If you didn't know, I've heard things about St. Valentine's, and we're not going to do a whole lot of that. I did show you, please don't knock my lights over, baby. I did show you about Lupercalia, which is a real thing, and that is horrible, horrible. But here's one strictly about St. Valentine's that you didn't know. This is a kind of sweet and sad story. So I'm going to listen to, oops, I just disconnected. How did I do that? I am super talented that way. All right. So let's start with this, just so you can hear a little bit of a sweet song.
Love wasn't always roses and candy. Some say Valentine's Day began a secret that cost a man his life. In ancient Rome, Emperor Claudius believed single men made stronger soldiers, so he outlawed marriage. Lovers were forced apart overnight, but one priest refused to obey. His name was Valentine. Under candlelight, behind locked chapel doors, he
Oh my goodness. Come on. Why did I lose? Sorry. Move, baby. I lost. Hold on. I don't know if she stepped on something.
married couples. binding their vows while guards patrolled the streets outside. Eventually, he was caught and thrown into a stone prison to await execution. There, legend says he met the jailer's daughter, a girl born blind. They spoke through the bars for hours. He told her stories about love, faith, and freedom she might never see. Somehow, she began to believe in light. On the night before his execution, Valentine wrote her a farewell letter. He signed it, "From your Valentine." The next morning, he was unalived. That same day, the girl's sight returned. But she later swore every February 14th she felt him standing beside her, whispering that love never dies. Love wasn't always roses and candy.
So what do y'all
Some
think
say
about that? Have you ever
Valentine's
seen
Day.
that one? That about St. Valentine's Day? I did know that they put him in prison and stuff like that, but I had no idea that the whole story is St. Valentine's. Now, I mean, I know this is a Catholic Church thing. I know it's whatever. Is it all propaganda? Who knows? Who knows? But it's a sweet story. And then I've heard there are some ghost stories about that. No, I'm not on an alt account. I have two channels. I have Spooky Southern Tea and I have Silky Southern Tea. I don't know which one you normally watch me on, but I do different things on different channels. This is a blend because it's kind of like anybody who wants to hang out on Valentine's Day. I just thought it would be fun. We are going to talk a little bit about some crimes that happened on Valentine's Day. If you watch Silky Southern Tea, I do cover true crimes, and just FYI, I will be going through, just so you know, I'm going to be changing up some of what I do on the channels. Spooky will still be spooky stories and TikToks, things that you send to me. Also, I'm going to start adding in some conspiracies along with our spooky TikToks and stories because of your interest. I put that out there, and a lot of you did respond. You did do want to see some of that. So I'm going to sprinkle. It's not going to go to all of that, but I'm going to sprinkle that in, and we will talk about it. Silky is going to go more towards. I'm going to do some more live streams probably with diving into the Epstein files. Probably will do some videos with some stuff that I'll look at. I don't have a whole lot of time to go live on that channel. I've been terribly sick. If you're on Spooky, you know I've been really sick lately, and so videos have been very hard for me to do. So yeah, that's where I am on both channels. Tonight is for fun. Um, there are some very interesting crimes here in Alabama, though. They just shut down a whole police station, like the city of Huntsville. Not where I live, but I have been through there many times, and yeah, they just recently shut down the whole thing. They fired them all, and it was necessary. I believe that is, if I'm not mistaken, that is in Coleman County. Crazy story. Y'all can look that up. Very interesting. It was gross injustice, but you know what? At least we did something about it. So there's that. Doesn't always happen, as y'all people in Indiana know. Um, uh, anyway, so let's see. All right, let's go back to our TikToks. I like that story of St. Valentine's though. Hold on, let me get to where I was. Now, that's at least a sweet one. Okay, let's start with something a little lighthearted. Okay, I've got some ghost stories. let's go. No, let's get into some crimes, okay? Let's talk about some crimes that happened on Valentine's Day. Now, if you're like me, the first thing you think of is Al Capone, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. That was in the, what was that, 20s or 30s? Something like that, late 20s, I think. But here are some ones that you might not have heard of.
Love is in the air, and Romeos and Juliets everywhere are looking for their Valentines this year. But whatever you do, in your pursuit of your soulmate, don't turn a crush into an obsession into
Oh,
a crime. So here's three common crimes committed.
okay. This is just, this isn't a crime. This is advice, okay? For y'all who maybe, I hope you didn't do this today, okay? If you didn't do it today, don't think about doing it tomorrow or any other time. I'll share with you a story also. Pay attention. Men and women. I used to say this was just men, but y'all, women have gotten a little unhinged also. These are crimes, but y'all, listen to what the man is saying. Don't do this, okay? Just don't.
On Valentine's Day you should not do. One, kissing someone on their lips without their consent. That is the crime of assault. Two, sending someone who has clearly and repeatedly said no to you, unwanted flowers and chocolates, unwanted messages and pictures, unwanted phone calls and calls at the door. This would amount to a crime of stalking and harassment. And three, sending pics or videos of pee parts to another if it will cause them harassment, distress, and humiliation. That is the crime of cyber flashing. Be good, and remember, there are plenty of fish in the puddle. Feel free to comment, follow, like, and share.
There are plenty of fish in the puddle. I like that. I like a British accent. True though. Y'all, let me just tell you, this wasn't even on Valentine's Day. But a few years ago, I was working on a case that somebody, I saw this story, and it was not in, it was in a neighboring state. And it was like, I saw this guy, it was a news report, like a legit news report. It wasn't just some, yo yo on video telling a story that I didn't know. No, it was a news report. And so I followed up on and found out that the victim lived, or the perpetrator lived in a neighboring state, not too far away from me. And I thought that is drivable. And the victim lived also in a southern state. And so I found him. He was had his whole name out there, and he was very much an advocate for, victims, and he wanted to see this guy who was a predator. He had been convicted, but then he was out of jail. He was very much an advocate for, people. Now he was a male. The predator was a male, and this guy really should. I mean, it should have been known better that he was a predator because he was out, and most likely was going to victimize other people. In my opinion, he did not get a harsh enough sentence. So anyway, I had many emails, phone calls with this man, and we had agreed to work on his story. I was going to have him on Silky Southern, and it was all business, all business. I mean, we talked a little personally, like just about life in general, his upbringing, where he lived. You know what I'm saying? Just as friends would, as friends. Nothing ever out of the way, said. Just basically, you know, just humans talking, how, where you grew up and that kind of stuff. Just getting to know each other. So we've been talking about a month. And I was working on something else, and I kept saying, okay, give me about 2 weeks and we're going to start your story, because I wanted to, I was working on Delphi, and there was a certain point that I knew we would have a break and there would be nothing really going on in that case, and I would be able to devote a significant amount of time to his case, which is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to just mention it and go on. I wanted to actually work that case. And so I'm minding my own business. We're keeping in touch. All of a sudden, and I'm in a group of church people, okay? I get a text or an email. I can't even remember now if it was a text or email, but whatever. And he reaches out to me, and because I don't hear from him like every day, I'm thinking, okay, this must be important. He's reaching out to me. I open this, and there is a picture. One of those pictures. And I have people standing around me as I open up this picture. And it is like, I didn't solicit this picture. Okay. I'm not even going to go into the description, and I was horrified. And I want to tell you something. I felt assaulted. I did. I felt essayed. And I was shocked, horrified. And then I started feeling, just for a second, for a few minutes, I felt like a victim. Like, what did I do? Like, going back through all my conversations, what did I do to, did I say or do something that would make him think that I wanted a picture of his hoo ha? And then, I realized, no, I didn't. I never did. I was always professional. This is what I do. Like, I'm always professional with this. And especially when it comes to working a true crime case. Now, I mean, when I'm talking about other stuff and we're just having a good time, I mean, I could be a complete lunatic. I'm just cutting up, but not when it comes to something serious like that. And then I got angry. I did a whole video about it, blasting him. It's still up somewhere in my pile of stuff on Silky Southern. But you know what? Uh, yeah, you very much feel victimized at first, and then it was just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, I never went through any trying to prosecute him legally. I feel like it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. I mean, you know what? I'm a big girl. Uh, I don't need all that. But I don't even have time for that. It's ridiculous. You're ridiculous. Of course, I never, I very much let him know what I thought, and I will never work with you. I'm not even sure what's wrong with you. I think you're unhinged. But anyway, these kind of things, bottom line, don't be sending people unsolicited stuff, okay? I feel like with men, it is a humiliation ritual. They feel like whether it's in the comments, whether it's, you know, um, a lot of times, people say things in the comments of videos, and whether it's on a live stream or whether it's just in your comments on a video somewhere down the line. I mean, one of my biggest ones on Spooky Southern, I mean, I did that like 3 years ago, and then I'll get like this hideous comment about, you know, I look at myself and I'm like, oh my, I cringe. I cringe at my own self sometimes. At the time, it was just like a quick, I'm going to sit down and do this because I promised I would not leave this channel completely. And you can't say anything that I haven't thought, for one thing. And secondly, I'm like, really? 3 years later after I've done this video, you really think I care what you think? Oh, you're funny. You're funny. You have nothing. You have nothing. Uh, there's nothing you can say to me that's gonna upset my day, sir or madam. I've had a lot of bad comments from females, so that's always interesting. Let's see. Critter Mama. you're right. Critter Mama. I see. I'm missing this conversation. I paint stalkers, paint gun. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Hey, Daniel Barry. Whoop whoop. Haven't seen you in forever. Sup? Sup, Daniel? Tammy Fayette. I am a Catholic. My whole family, Tammy Fayette. No, I want to tell you something. No, that was not meant to be any no shade. Okay, my whole family on my mom's side Catholic. Uh, so they're whole side of that family. I was actually christened Catholic. Um, all right, let's look at some more stuff. So I wanna say this. Y'all heard my stories last month. I wanted to get a jump on the bad Valentine's Day. I told you my horrible stories about uh Valentine's bad Valentine's Days. So those are behind me. Thank God. But some of these people, if you're feeling bad, ladies, men, gentlemen out there, if you're feeling bad, if you feel like, you know what, I'm having a bad Valentine's Day, think about these people and realize it could be worse. Look, I want to tell you something. You know what's worse than being alone? Being with these goobers. Having a bad Valentine's Day. That's worse than being alone. In my book, anytime. I will take alone any day of the week. So let's look at some of these. It's horrible, y'all. It's horrible out there. Okay. Oh, let's see. Okay, let's do one for the gentleman. Let's start out with y'all.
Are you fucking for real? You cheating on me?
I didn't.
Good. Today we'll be streaming some.
Busy?
What?
Are you busy?
I'm about to start streaming, but not really.
Okay. I got an early Valentine's Day gift for you just to show like my appreciation for you at this video.
What do you got?
It's an early Valentine's Day gift.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Favorite.
Yummy. But I can't eat nuts.
You love Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah, but I have to stay away from nuts. Hazelnut.
Why?
I don't eat them anymore.
Why?
After my allergy test, I'm allergic now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I must have forgotten. I'm sorry.
Any nuts at all. Not just
Okay.
peanuts, any nuts.
Wait,
I'm not
hold
supposed to.
on. Can I sit up for a minute?
What the fuck is
Wait,
this?
no,
You're
no, Avery,
pregnant?
Avery.
You're pregnant?
No. Just give.
Oh my god!
Avery, stop, please.
I can't believe you're pregnant. What's wrong? I'm happy.
No. No.
I can't believe
Avery,
you're pregnant.
please.
I don't remember making
Avery.
a mistake. But
Avery.
shit, I guess that's what
Please
happens.
don't read that. Avery,
Stop!
please.
You're
Oh my
acting
God.
crazy.
Please don't read that card.
Eat a little
Avery.
trash, get a little feral is hilarious.
Avery,
Stop!
stop.
Calm down. This is a happy fucking time. What are you
Come
doing?
on, dude. Just listen.
Hope
Stop.
your Valentine's Day has a little of everything you love.
Avery. Don't.
Happy V-Day, babe. So thankful we took a chance and swiped on each other. Can't wait to get out of here and start this next chapter.
Okay,
Just
can I
the
have it
three of us?
back? Can I have it back, please? Please.
Are you fucking for real?
I am going to stop it right there. I did not remember it having such bad language in it. Sorry about that. I really didn't think it had that bad a language. Hold on just a second. I'm going to message. I'm having trouble. I'm not hardwired in. I think that's why am I not hardwired in my computer? I think somebody might have borrowed my system wire. We're going to find out. Because my FPS, like, it shouldn't be doing this. I should be really, really good. Um, anyway, sorry about that. But yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine being, I felt so bad for this guy. I don't know. I hope it's not true. I hope it's not. But let's listen to this one.
Today is my first Valentine's Day as a single person again after
Whoops. Hold on. Why do I? Hold on. My stuff is going nuts. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on.
Today is my first Valentine's Day as a single person again after experiencing the most psychologically abusive relationship I have ever experienced last year. And I'm finally ready to spill some lore, which I held off on because personally I like to keep my relationships kind of private. And then on top of that, I was just really not healed from this, and I wanted to wait to talk about it until I felt healed to a point where I could articulate it properly. You know, hindsight 2020 and all that. So keep in mind, this is one of the more tame stories from this relationship, and I have more that I will be sharing. So let's dive in. Last Valentine's Day, I was dating this guy. I was love bombed and breadcrumbed and told that we were only allowed to hang out 2 days a week because if we hung out more than that, he would lose himself and get too controlling. My love language is quality time. So like, I want a man that wants to see me every day. So Valentine's rolls around and this man tells me that he doesn't believe in Valentine's Day because it is a corporate scam and that's what his mom taught him. So he says, we're not doing gifts and we're not doing anything for Valentine's Day because I don't believe in it and I don't want to support corporate America in that way. Meanwhile, this same man is getting Amazon packages delivered every single day and also orders all of his meals from Uber Eats. Like, fuck corporate America, am I right? So he takes the bar for Valentine's Day and sets it so low that it's literally in hell. And I'm starting to think to myself, I don't know, I think I probably need to break up with this guy because this has been a really bad relationship so far. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we will get into at a later date because believe me, the stories I have are just nuts, jaw on the floor. And then he comes to me for Valentine's Day and says, I think we should celebrate and I want to take you out to dinner and I want us to go bowling. His reasoning for wanting to go bowling is because he's so good at it and he wants to show me how good he is at it. And then he suggests that we go to Waffle House for dinner after, which, like, I didn't want to be difficult, but I don't like bowling and I'm not a huge fan of Waffle House. And the whole time he's still reiterating, no gifts, don't get me a gift or I'll be pissed. I'm not getting you anything, so you shouldn't get me anything. And this man has neglected me and manipulated me so much that I am actually just thinking like, wow, I'm just lucky that he even wants to see me on Valentine's Day. I'm happy that he even wants to see my face because most of the time, he doesn't want to see me at all. And this year, I'm single. Tonight, for Valentine's Day, I'm going on a first date with some guy I met on Hinge. We're going to IKEA. We're going to have Swedish meatballs. Then I'm going to go to the club with all of my friends because my friend is playing a set opening for Cassian, and we're going to dance, and we're going to have a good time. And there's no pressure. There's no expectation. And it's just pure peace. Like, I think of how many tears I was crying at this point last year, like literally crying all day, every day, not sleeping, not eating, because of this guy. And now I'm happy again. God, may a love like that never fucking find me again. Today is my first Valentine's
Right.
Day.
Have y'all ever said that? May a love like that never find me again. I have said that so many times. I don't find anything in the world wrong with the Waffle House. Like, there are things that I like there. It's not that. It's not about the. It's not really about, because it's not that it doesn't have the greatest quality of food. Although, at least you get to see them like make it. You can watch them and make sure they're not spitting in it. That's always a plus to me because you don't know when it comes out of the kitchen what they've done to it. So I'm always kind of good with that if I can see it. But I mean, it's not the worst. I kind of like it. There are times that I really want Waffle House, Huddle House, things like that. They make some good omelets. I actually asked them how they made them so fluffy. Just so you know, how they come out and they're just huge. There's the big fluffy omelets, and you're like, how do they get them that fat and so fluffy? I asked because I can't do this at home. You take them and you put them in you whip them. You put them with the beaters. 1 minute, 60 seconds. You take those eggs and you just fluff them. You beat them until they are like coming out the bowl. 1 minute, and you aerate them that much, and you throw them in the pan with all the crap that you're gonna put in the middle of them. You like, and look, they'll do the same thing at home. The same thing. Those big fat fluffy omelets, perfection. Um, you know, but here's the thing: it's not the money; it's the effort. You know, you can not spend money, but put the effort in thinking about me, making a picnic lunch with your own little fingers, little sandwiches with your own little fingers, that's special, a little blanket somewhere, a little, something that I'll like. It's not about the money, it's about the effort. What I'm saying. You ladies, you know what I'm saying. Handmade card is fine. I mean, actually, handmade card is much better because it's the effort that you put into it. Um, Not impressed with cards that somebody else wrote, stuff like that. But it's the lack of. It's the lack of. To me, I don't like Valentine's Day because your men are compelled. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Because I do feel for guys, all right? Because you walk into the store and it's the wonderland of pink and red and fluffy things and things that make noise and hearts and candy. And, look, ladies, the male brain. I'm not saying they're stupid. Y'all don't misunderstand me. The male brain is it's more simple, okay? It's more, I don't mean simple as in ignorant. I mean it, like the field is more narrow. It's really trained to be more specific. It comes for specific things. Like we're all about the oohs and ahs. Look at this, look at that. They don't want to do that, okay? So you put them in this wonderland of all. This is very confusing. Okay, it's very aggravating, it's very confusing. And this is not really how they're trying to express love anyway. And this is a terrible thing. They're trying to figure out and navigate this, and what are you gonna like? I mean, it's weird. It's a weird place for men. I mean, just try to think about it from the other side. So I really like this. Listen to this man. I think it's hilarious. And he does have a point. Even though women, we expect stuff, this guy does have a point.
Okay, what if we make another holiday for men to forget? What if we did that? That's genius. Okay, so once a year we could all act like we like flowers more than we do. Do you think we can make candy that is in the shape of feelings? I'm just saying, what if we did that? No, David, you prove love with reservations. We buy stuffed animals for grown adults. Someone call the president. This idea needs to go straight to the top. We could hand out tiny candy that has aggressive sayings like, be mine. The more aggressive, the better. No, it's like you either have plans or you act like you never wanted them. It's like Christmas, but with higher expectations from your wife. Easy on César, mon amour. Ooh, the mascot is a naked baby with a weapon. Let's go. Make the flowers double the price for like just this day. What if we did that? Women will say they don't want gifts, but they're lying. That'll drive men crazy. You know what? I should have Vada you for questioning me. It's a holiday that you celebrate even if you've been dating for 3 days. With the same expectations. I'm just saying, what if we did that? Oh, poetry for people who can't read. I actually don't think the president is high enough. I think we need to talk to the man upstairs. We got to tell him. This is an idea that needs eyes and ears. You know what I'm saying? But see, the real sport is reading subtle hints from like 3 weeks ago. You know what, David? Your mother never liked you. She liked me better. And I'm not even related to her. And that's the reason why. I'm sorry, David, that was mean, but I just can't stand you sometimes. When I'm flowing, you gotta be going with me. Tiny chalk hearts. What if we did that? And then all the restaurants create special menus that take out all affordability. How do I come up with this stuff? You know how you love Reese's? Okay, well, somehow they taste worse in heart-shaped form. And also they cost double the price. Just for this day. It's like a performance review for relationships. Wow. You know the mascot? The baby will fly and attack people. Also, wait, what is today? Dang it, I forgot to get flowers. What if we did that?
I mean, can you see where it would be a horrible thing for men? I mean, it really is. Again, it's asking a lot. It really is asking a lot for men who really don't think this way. Okay, so I mean, I feel like Valentine's Day is now. I feel like maybe Gen Z, they're kind of conditioned differently. All right. First of all, there's a lot going through their head. They're used to TikToks going by very fast, and men are different. Like maybe millennials, starting with millennials, but definitely boomers, Gen X, uh, what is the Johnson, the Jen Johnson that's in there right in between. Y'all maybe you don't even know about them. They're just a very small group of people. Back in our day, Gen X. Back in our day, I really can't fault y'all, guys. It's just too much. It's too much. I get it. I do. I feel for you. Even some of the older millennials, I think maybe it might be too much. Now, gamers, y'all should be able to catch up, but maybe not. If it doesn't really, if you're not holding a weapon, I feel like if you could go into the store, if you had a weapon and you were just like the thing was to shoot all of the Valentine's related stuff, y'all could do that, but otherwise, I feel like it's just asking a lot. Um, anyway, we're going to get into some ghost stories too. Spooky people don't leave. Spooky people don't leave. We are going to get into some ghost stories. Actually, let's go ahead and do a ghost story. We're going to just mix it up. Mix it up. I think this is a ghost story. Let's look at this one. The spooky. The Valloween.
When I was little, something so strange happened to me that I still can't understand to this day. I had what I think was a dream. The reason I say that is because I can't remember if it was a dream. In my head, it's just a memory, but I know that this couldn't have possibly happened, so it had to have been a dream. That I was in my grandparents' house, and I had walked out into their front room to find my grandma, and her back was away from me. She was facing the door, and she was looking out the screen door, and I asked her something, and she turned around, and it was my grandma, but she had red eyes, and she was smiling at me, and I freaked out, and I turned around to go tell my family members, and she had been walking behind me and just saying, no one's ever going to believe you, no one will believe you. And I could see her as I walked past a mirror in the house, just kind of right behind me, staring at me, smiling with red eyes. And I knew, obviously, this wasn't my grandma. Looked just like my grandma, but it wasn't her. And I remember going back into the family room and telling my family and seeing my real grandma in there and saying, there's a woman out there and she's pretending to be you, and I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. and all my family went out to the front room, and there was nobody there, obviously. But then I remember it cut to a different memory of, it was the same day we were all in the house sitting around the table for a birthday or something like that. And I was facing this mirror, and I could see her reflection in the mirror standing behind me, this fake grandma, while my real grandma was sat right beside me at this table. It's so weird. I don't have an explanation for it. I know it had to have been a dream because obviously that didn't happen, and no, none of my family remembers it. I even remember asking my mom about it one time. She was like, "That didn't happen," and it was. But it's very strange to me that I can't remember it as being a dream. I just remember this incident as a memory. When I was little.
Do y'all think that? I mean, I've heard of things like this happening where people know it's not a dream, but like the whole anybody involved just seems to have amnesia. I'm going to see what some of the comments say because sometimes the comments are really interesting in this. Somebody says it sounds like a doppelganger, a mimic, or either an entity or possibly a demon pretending to be your grandmother. I agree. Uh, Also, oh, somebody says Coraline was onto something. Have y'all ever seen the movie Coraline? Definitely. Oh my gosh. There is a lot of stuff in Coraline that even today, my daughter and I, that is one of our things. It always has been since she was a little girl. And we watch it at least once a year, usually more than once a year. We watch it together. It's just our thing. But um, we often refer to it in different scenarios and different things and even at different spiritual circumstances. It'll be like, in Coraline when blah, blah, blah happened. There is a lot of weird truth in Coraline. So if you haven't seen it, you might want to see it. Um, it says, somebody else says that could have been real. Demons will take the shape of people you love to trick you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah, it looks like the
When
general
I was little.
consensus with this, sorry, it looks like the general consensus of this is that it is a demon that has taken the shape. That's what the chat, the comments are saying on here, pretty much. Someone says also, when I was 6, my 2 aunts were in a car accident. To this day, I can recall the entire accident in details as if I was in the back seat, but I wasn't in the car with them. They were, or she says they were 10-ish years older than me. I've even confirmed details that I shouldn't have known. I think maybe I dreamed about it after the fact and cemented it as a memory. Hold on, I'm asking about why my computer's so bad. I don't know. Okay, I'm hardwired. That is weird. I don't know. Do y'all have any explanation for that? What do y'all think? Um, let's see. Lori says, my mother has amnesia about a lot of things in my childhood. That's true. With honestly, I'll tell you, Lori, that's true of a lot of people who, I don't know, who have trauma or who have repressed memories or who have things that have been blacked out. Um, either by trauma or by, I don't know, other, that can go deep. That can go into some wild territory. But if you have memories blocked out for some reason, and the brain is trying to remember, um, and then sometimes people have done things to you so you can't remember, and then again sometimes it's trauma. But yeah, those people have, if you have big patches of your memory, big years of your memory, that your childhood and stuff, that people just can't remember. Um, yeah, there's trauma. And then I think my mother has that as well, but not not when she was a child, but as when maybe when she was a young adult, because living with my dad was very traumatic. It was, it just, he kept her on edge all the time, and I think there was big chunks of things that happened that she doesn't remember either. I mean, I bring them up and she's like, really, I don't even remember that. uh let's see. um Samantha says, I could not watch all of Coraline. It gave me bad vibes. It does. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Um, but it's very, I love Coraline. You have to kind of get past the, the weird. Um, it does give you a little bit of PTSD, but once you get past and you kind of understand, you go into the deep, um, what is it? Maybe the deep understanding of what that movie's really about, and you get past the trauma of it. It's like, huh, that's really interesting. It's very interesting to me. I love it now, but it is dark. It is very, very dark. All right. Um, you want another ghost story? Let's look at some ghost stories. Let's see. Um, Here is a Valentine's Day.
Well, good morning and happy Valentine's Day. I'm just sat out in the garden managing to enjoy a little bit of winter sun. And of course, to kick off Valentine's Day, I wanted
I
to
love
share
his
with you
hair.
a ghost story that's due to take place today on the anniversary of the incident. Now, it happens at Sefton Park in Liverpool. For anybody who doesn't know that, it's just outside the city, very well known in the area. And it takes place during the early 1800s. Now, the story goes a woman called Emily found out that her boyfriend of the time was committing adultery. You know, he was seeing other ladies, he was lying to her about it, but she was deeply and madly in love with him, as love is known to do. Now, he broke up with her allegedly in Sefton Park and told her he had fallen in love with another woman he'd been cheating on her with. She had no option but to take it. He was leaving her, taking his stuff that day on Valentine's Day and going. So she decided to make a promise to him. 1 year today, on Valentine's Day next year, we'll meet again. We'll see whether this new relationship has really worked out or you miss me. And in which case, we'll rekindle and I'll forever be by your side. So the story goes he agreed to this. Little did he know, shortly after their meeting, the woman hung herself from one of the trees in Sefton Park. Sure enough, he never found out, and a year later he arrived on the morning of Valentine's Day in the early 1800s to greet Emily and reassess the situation. He was a womanizer, he just wanted what he could get from it. Sure enough, Emily appears, but she looks different. She looks as though she's been dead for a year and has a ring of red around her neck. I told you I'd be back, she says to him, reaches out and disappears inside of him as she goes to hug him. He can then feel the presence of Emily everywhere he goes. She's always watching him, she's always with him, as she said, no matter what other woman he goes to meet throughout his life. Every Valentine's Day, she will materialize. It's not just a feeling anymore. She appears and scares away his newest love. Legend has it, if you visit Sefton Park on the morning of Valentine's Day, you might see the ghostly apparition of Emily floating by in her white gown. Well, hope you enjoyed that story. Happy Valentine's Day, whether you're doing it as a day of self-love, being spoiled by another half, or you're doing the spoiling, or just looking after friends and family. Have a good one and stay spooky.
Yeah, stay spooky. Um, Look, some people get what they deserve. And if you are going to do stuff like that, I think, the punishment should be, eternal habitation by someone you have wronged that badly. And I mean, scaring off somebody else's, forever. Like that seems like just punishment to me. However, I'm just telling you, in the afterlife, I've already got plans, and my plans do not include haunting somebody else. Like, I've got stuff to do. You are not that important in the afterlife. I've got stuff. I've got things to do. Yeah. It's not about you, buddy, and whoever you're hanging out with, Yahoo. No, you're not that important to me. So whatever. I just can't. I can't with you. You're just to me. I get it. I get it. Emily, you're mad. You want to be mad forever, but look, nobody's worth that. I'm just saying. Go on, live your death. Live your afterlife. Enjoy. I mean, some people just need to be lonely. Let's see. Let's see. Have you heard about the ghost who walks up and down 31? What do you mean? Is that like a highway or something? Hoosier? Oh no, where is this at? Somebody pushes a life-size teddy bear around and says it's her husband? Oh, oh, that's sad. Oh, that's so sad. I mean, well, probably a better spouse. Could be. Could be. I'm just saying. Don't have to fight the remote control over a teddy bear. All right, let's look at some more crimes on Valentine's Day. You want to see what some other crimes that have been committed? Here's some.
These 3 murders happened on Valentine's Day. These are designed to get more intense as they go on, so if you can't handle the first, then you probably don't want to stick around for the third. Nathan Luthold and his wife Denise traveled to Lithuania for a missionary trip, but what happened next was definitely a sin. The couple served as visa sponsors for a young woman named Aina. But Nathan had something else in mind. Police later found a note written in Denise's daily planner that said, "I know you want me dead. Why do you humiliate me by running around with a 20-year-old?" referring to Aina. On Valentine's Day 2013, Nathan called the police to report a break-in, but it was very clear the only real damage done to the home was a single bullet hole in Denise's head. Aina claimed to have nothing to do with this, but she still had to testify in court. And Nathan, a God-fearing man, ended up getting sentenced to 80 years in prison. When Ignacia Manriquez tried to get a restraining order against the father of her children, he told her that no piece of paper could make him stay away. On Valentine's Day 1993, Juan Navarro, who I couldn't find a photo of, followed Ignacia to a shopping center and the two ended up arguing in a parking lot. A witness said he saw Juan pull out a weapon and shoot Ignacia in front of her 4-year-old son. When the police interviewed the little boy about what happened, he said ketchup was everywhere. And as if that poor, traumatized little child wasn't bad enough, Juan fled the country and was on the run for 19 years. In 2012, Juan Navarro was located, prosecuted, and sentenced to 30 years to life for the murder of Ignacia Manriquez. This case is similar to Ignacia's, but I feel like it's worse in that Tiana did everything we're told to do in the event you find yourself in this situation, but the police were complete idiots. Tiana Notice had a bright future. She was getting her master's degree in political science when she met James Carter II. After finding out about his history of domestic violence against his past girlfriend, Tiana left him. After her ex started calling her incessantly, she got a restraining order. Then, James started sending her threatening emails like, "Trust me, you're going to lose everything. Punishment is on the way, so be prepared." Tiana was rightfully scared out of her mind and was keeping records of all of his threats. In just 6 weeks, she'd been to the police station 33 times to report his behavior. But the Connecticut police didn't think that his behavior was threatening enough. The last time the 25-year-old went to the police was February 14th, 2009. But instead of arresting James Carter, the police then called him to tell him that his ex had been by the police station to report him. When Tiana dropped by her apartment that night, James came out of the shadows and stabbed her 20 times. And because she was failed by everyone around her, she made her own 911 call. At 9:41 p.m., Tiana called 911 saying, "I'm bleeding to death. My ex-boyfriend stabbed me to death." And the neighbor also reported hearing her screams and seeing James driving his car out of the parking lot. This was a massive failure on the part of the Waterbury and Plainville, Connecticut police departments. The family received a $10 million settlement. And they used this money to start the Tiana Angelique Notice Foundation to toughen laws around domestic violence cases. Her ex was sentenced to 60 years in jail, and this case also helped change Connecticut's laws.
So just remember, y'all, if you think that you're having a bad Valentine's Day, these people all had a worse one. I guess that's the point of tonight. You know, it could be worse. Look, being home on a Saturday night, Valentine's Day, is actually quite refreshing, in my opinion. But it could be worse. Look, I was looking at y'all's comments and I'm reading them, and then I forgot I've got a ghost story of my own that happened today. I completely forgot about it. Okay, and I'm looking over here, and for y'all on Spooky Southern that don't know, Deb and Hoosier I'm looking at your conversation, and these are people that have been with me on Silky Southern forever. Okay, so like these aren't just some yahoos that picked up in the comments. So Deb says, I'm gonna go back up here, that she said she had something happen. I'm gonna try to find the very first thing that you said. Hoosier Daddy says, Deb, have you heard about the ghost who walks up and down 31? And I was asking, is that a highway? Yes. And Deb says, we're talking about the paranormal. Interesting, Hoosier, because I had something weird happen a few years ago. I was on my way to work heading south on 31, south of Northwood Plaza, and it was dark out. I saw what I thought was a person. It was foggy that morning, and when I got closer, it was just legs, no body. Freaked me out. So Hoosier says, Deb, an apparition or an actual person? And Deb says, apparition for sure. A car drove right through the legs. And Deb says it was right in front of Tractor Supply. My heart was racing and I felt nauseous. It was definitely real. Fog evidently helps spirits appear. I didn't know that. I mean, I know a lot of people do say that. But I never really thought about. I mean, I do. I do know that. Joey Lowell, hey, how are you? It has been a long time. Haven't seen you in forever. Spinster. I like that, spinster. Any Valentine's haters out there to keep me company? Absolutely. We are hating on Valentine's Day. Actually, Yeah, I wouldn't call it a hating on Valentine's Day. I am quite happy to be single. Single and enjoying myself and out of the stress of it. And Spinster, we are talking about, we're telling ghost stories. We're looking at some crimes that happened on Valentine's Day. And we are just playing some videos of people who have had really sucky Valentine's Days to make us feel even happier about being single on Valentine's Day, sharing our stories, our ghost stories, our all kind of stories. Just what the heck? We're just hanging out, having a good time, being glad we're here together. Um, okay, so yeah, anyway, that's very interesting, Deb. And it reminded me of what happened this morning. Yeah, y'all know. I think all of y'all who are regulars on either one of my channels know that my house is haunted. But like I said, I don't really have that. It's like it comes and goes. Things get quiet around here, and I forget that there's stuff going on. I mean, I forget about the hauntings until something happens out of the blue, and then I'm like, I'm kind of startled. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot, my house is haunted. So there's that. But I was actually sitting here this morning, and I have like monitors. I have 3 monitors, and so I usually in the wintertime, I'm usually not using this front one that I use on this camera. So I was turned sideways, like this way over here. And so I'm preparing the videos for tonight, just pulling up stuff, watching stuff that I think that maybe you'll enjoy, or watching pieces of it. I try not to watch all of it so I can react with you, but I just try to load part of it and see if it's something that looks interesting. So I was getting ready to quit, and I know you don't know how my room is laid out, but if I'm looking towards, where's my hands? I'm looking towards this direction, which is where my other monitor is. My bed is actually, this room is quite large, and my 4-poster bed is across the room, which would be that way, straight ahead. So I'm turning, I quit looking at the screen, and I'm I look over towards my bed, and my bed goes all the way to the ceiling, and it honestly is so tall that it looks like it's somebody standing on my bed. But I see like the face. I don't see hair. I see more like a skull, almost like it's really so fast though. You see white. I see a white face. See, I see like maybe an eye socket or something, nose, mouth, whatever. Like you can tell that it's a face, but it's up so high, and it's kind of stark. Um, and I just get the flash of it as I'm looking at it, and then it just disappears. And I'm thinking, I'm looking at the cat who's laying on the bed, who's just not moving, and the dog who's over here. Nobody's doing anything. Like, and it makes me wonder: is this thing here all the time? Like, did they just think like there's no activity going on? Like, is this just here all the time and I just don't see it? And they're just like, yeah, this is the ghost that lives in the room. Because then I'm like, what? So I get up from my chair and I go walking around the desk, and I'm standing at the side of my bed, and I'm like shaking my finger at it. I see you. I see you. I don't know who you are, but I just want you to know. See you, buddy. Whatever you are. Um, just so they know. I mean, just so you know. I don't know like, what am I supposed to say? And are you like jumping on my bed at night while I'm sleeping? Like, is this why I don't sleep? Is this why I have to get up and pee 15 times a night? Do you just wake me up? Is this why I'm uncomfortable and I just wake up? Or are you disturbing it? Are you always over there? I don't know. But apparently you are not enough to alarm my 2 critters in the room. And yet here we are. So yeah, I thought that was really weird because I haven't seen anything. There wasn't anything, sometimes things fall in the room, whatever, but I have a cat running around. So yeah, how Sachi is. I don't know. It was just kind of weird, and I haven't written it in my diary yet. But that was today, and I almost forgot that my house was haunted. But it's funny, Deb, because you said about the legs, and at least you were outside, and that it was fog, and that makes sense. But and I've told this story on Spooky Southern before, but this has been, I don't know, I have to look in my diary to see when this happened, but it's been probably a year and a half at least, maybe 2 years ago. I was in the kitchen and I was standing there, and I turned around to come back towards my room, and there's a foyer, and my staircase splits and goes down both sides of the house, and which is a very odd configuration for the year that my house was built. It's a weird one. But anyway, as I'm standing there about to walk into my room, I'm looking out that way, and I see legs walking down the stairs. Just legs. Not a dress, not shorts, not and there's no pants on the legs. They're just legs, like bare legs. And probably feet, but I wasn't really looking at the feet because I'm looking at like from just above the knees to just above the ankles is what I'm like really focusing on. Legs walking down my stairs in the air, like above the stairs, not really on the stairs, above the stairs, just walking. And I'm looking at these disembodied legs as they're walking towards my room, and I'm like, hello? So now I've seen a face, I've seen legs, parts of legs. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. And do ghosts control this? I mean, I would have to say these legs looked more like female legs, but they weren't really on the stairs. So I don't know. You're walking on air. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. And then they disappeared, but it was again. There was nothing alarming. The dog, cat didn't do anything. I don't know if the legs came into the room. I don't know if they just walked up into the attic. I don't know where they went. Never saw them again. Not before or since. The only recurrent character that I see here is the man in black. I've seen him probably 3 or 4 times. And as did the lady that lived here prior to me, like some decades ago. I've talked to her. Everybody that lived in the house just prior to me is now deceased. So I've never talked to them. So clearly. But I don't know. I don't know. Weird. So that's my ghost story for the day. I don't know. Maybe Valentine's Day brings out the spooks. But there you go. Let me see what y'all are saying. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Ghost jumping on the bladder syndrome. Oh my gosh. Maybe that's it. Maybe that is it. Maybe, you know what? Maybe that is the whole thing. They say as we get older, you get up and you go to the bathroom more. Maybe it's not. Maybe as you get older, the ghosts think, oh, as you're getting older, we're just going to come and you're getting closer to our side. Maybe that's ghost bladder jumping syndrome. Maybe that's what it is. We don't know. You don't know. I don't know. Joey says, I have a ghost. It's my dog. She jumps on my bed at night and lays next to me. I feel and hear her. Hey, look, I don't doubt it, Joey. I don't. I had a cat that would come and as a lot of people on my Spooky Southern Tea channel, I've had tons of letters and comments for years for people having their ghost pets come way after death. Forever coming, feeling them jump on the bed. I definitely have had cats jump on the bed after they're deceased, scratching my feet. How cats do if they're under the bed and they grab at your feet like they're hiding in there and they play with you. I've had that happen before. Um, let's see. Who's your daddy saying? Um, who's your daddy says sitting in a car by the old house that was at the top of the drive to the park. The wind picked up out of the blue and it sounded like a horse and coach coming up the drive. But my friend looked at me and said, "Do you hear that?" And I said, "What?" I made her say it first, but it was strange. Did I miss a what house? Look, I've heard that a lot of the houses I like to go visit historic houses and the ghost tours. Was it this house? Maybe this is what you were talking about. Um, oh, here we go. This is where it was. Okay. Um, but some of these places, like the Belmont Mansion, that's on the way when I was going to Tuscumbia, and what is that place? The Waverly Plantation. Both of those places told me the same thing. Horses and the sounds of horses and carriages coming up the road, that kind of thing. Insane, crazy stuff. But I mean, it happens. It's very common. Um, okay, it was a historic house. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty common. Hello, Gretchen. Nice to see ya. Let me see. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I haven't. Hello, Ron. I haven't seen. I actually haven't seen your comments until right now. There we go. I've never heard of the slippery noodle in Indianapolis, but I tell you what, that sounds that sounds like somewhere interesting. All right, let's see. Let's do one of these. Let's do one of these. I'm glad this isn't me.
I have the worst Valentine's Day story from a few years ago. So if you're feeling bad or somebody broke your heart right now, believe me, a few years from now, you're not going to care. And if you have a worse story than mine, hit me up because I never heard one as bad as mine. I was dating a guy for over a year. I mean, I was madly in love with him. And on Valentine's Day, he told me he was going to be busy the entire day with meetings. He had some businessmen from out of town, la 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 la. He was a very successful entrepreneur. And he told me to wait for him at his place at night. So, cutting the story short, I go there, sexy lingerie, and I'm waiting. And he kept texting me and telling me that he was still the businessman, he was running late, blah, blah, blah. And I feel so bad. I don't even eat. I'm literally in bed waiting for him to get home. He got home at 10:30 at night and jumped in bed with me, right? So, anyways, a few hours later, around 5 a.m., I look at my Instagram and I find out that he had spent the entire day with his ex-girlfriend at her place, having with her, gave her all these beautiful Cartier bracelets, all kinds of gifts. She showed me all the videos. She proved everything to me. So he went from her house and jumped in bed with me without showering in between. I mean, I was devastated. I was heartbroken. I left his place running and crying, la la la. But it gets worse. I ended up forgiving him, dating him an extra year, and he cheated on me again on my birthday. So if you have something, and now I laugh about it. I'm like, whatever, how could I have been so stupid? But if you have a bad thing happen to you, remember, it will get better a few days, a few months, or a few years from now. When you find your person, when you're in a much happier place, you're gonna look back and say, "Oh, that douche did me a favor."
Yeah. So I mean, hey, remember, you're not this woman. If you've done something stupid, I look, I I want to say I haven't done anything that stupid, but maybe it hasn't been quite that stupid. But I look at it and I'm like, you know what? I probably was just as dumb. It might not have been exactly like that, but yeah. Um, let's see. We're gonna look at another ghost story here in just a second. Um, let's see. Other places that are haunted: Pendleton Wall Prison. I haven't heard of that one. I'm gonna tell you, almost all prisons are. Um, let's see. Jeanette says, I was at work and walking through the break room, only one other person in there, and all of a sudden a bottle flew off the counter and we both looked. There was nobody there. I'm not sure what to think. Exactly. I've told y'all about my story. I was at church when a cup flew, not just what happened here. Uh-oh. I don't know if y'all can hear me. I don't know what happened. If y'all can hear me, I'm still here. I don't know if you're seeing or hearing anything. Okay. Everything went crazy. It went black on my end. So I can't see. I have no idea. My whole screen went black. Um well, I tell you what, even though I can't see myself and I can see your comments. I can see that. I have no idea. Like my son says I am hardwired in. I have no idea what's happening here. Why my video is so bad. Let me read to you. I don't know. We're not having bad weather here. But let me tell you some. Here, I tell you what. Let's pretend. Everybody turn your lights off and light a candle. We'll tell ghost stories in the dark. What about that? I don't know what's happening here. Let me refresh. Um, Let me read a couple of things to you though, because I don't want to lose this. This is important. Um, okay, wait a second. I don't really know why. Okay. Can y'all see? Okay, you can't see. The border is up, the chat is up, but the middle picture is black. Okay. I really have no idea. Maybe the ghost is interfering. This is crazy. It really is because when I say I'm hardwired in, like I have the, I'm with Charter and I have the highest speed. I pay the highest amount. I'm hardwired in for the very best. There are no storms in the area. There is literally no reason for this to be happening. This is insane. Um, I was trying to find a comment by Hoosier. Um, and I can't find it right now. But it says something about, but Hoosier, you said something about stories, but you don't tell people. I would love to hear your stories, and if I Deb, you and Hoosier, I have nothing but stories, and the people on Spooky Southern Tea love nothing more than true stories that I read out. on that channel. And if you do not want your name, or you want to change it and you want me to tell stories with whatever name you want to go by, or just leave it anonymous, you can email me. You can email me at the email address you have at Silky and Southern, or you can email me at Avalon Cottage. Um, you can just go to Spooky Southern Tea, and you can find all that information there. I would love to hear your stories. And I understand that a lot of people don't believe in ghosts. I have all my ghost stories over there. My God, I've got a ton of them. And I sprinkle them even throughout other people's, because I've got so many that I forget. Um, I forget. And then somebody tells a story, and I'm like, oh, yeah, let me tell you about what happened here. It reminds me of something else. And Joey, let me say this to you. I did see what you said. Joey says, I don't do Valentine's Day because my ex wife of 26 years left me on that day. I cannot imagine. I am so sorry. Um, that is horrible. And I actually had a video that somebody actually on TikTok said that. Um, uh, let's see. I'm gonna try to refresh this page. Let's see what happens. I just didn't want to lose any of that. Okay, can y'all hear me now? This is insane. Am I okay? It tells me that y'all can hear me now. Okay, I guess we do have ghostly interference tonight, because I really thought that I just wasn't hardwired. Because every once in a while, somebody comes in here, slips in here, and steals my hardwire cable if he wants to stream. So here we go. All right, let's look at some more ghost stories. All right. Oh, yeah, we've been online for a while. Mostly just, mostly doing some craziness. All right, let's look at oh, this is a crazy story. Now, okay, this is a crazy one. Tell me what you think because I saw in the comments people are like, "Oh, this can't be real." But and I would tend to say that, but it goes on for years. Like it goes on. She asked her grandmother about it years later. So it's like, okay, if this was just a one time thing, I'd say, well, maybe. But listen to the whole thing and tell me what you think.
I don't care if it's still August. School is officially over, therefore it is spooky season. So I'm gonna tell you a spooky story. This is true and this happened to me. So you're gonna need a little bit of context before I jump right into the story. My grandparents on my mother's side live out in the country in Oklahoma. When I was younger, we would go out there and visit them frequently, at least once a year. This particular time, we're going to visit them. I can't remember exactly how old I was. I want to say I was like 10, somewhere between the ages of like 8 and 11. So we go up there for a small family, like close family reunion type of thing. I should also mention that this house is old. If that wasn't already obvious, this house is old. It's old as my grandparents. It's older than them. So at this reunion, everyone's outside. They're grilling, barbecuing, sitting, chit-chatting, talking, whatever. It was starting to get a little bit chilly, so I was like, I'm gonna go inside and get a jacket and I'll be right back. So I run inside. Mind you, nobody else is inside the house. Everybody's outside getting their barbecue on, okay? I run inside up the stairs to my room to grab a jacket. In this room, there's the closet, and then next to the closet right here is a little door for a crawl space. I grab my jacket, I turn around. The crawl space is open. The door is cracked open. I'm like, oh, okay, let me just go and close that really quick. I go over, I open it a little bit because I'm like, what's in there? Not expecting there to be anything in there. I open it, and there's a staircase. A long staircase going up. So what does 10-year-old me do? I go up the staircase. Something was just speaking to me, telling me that this door was open for a reason and that I'm supposed to go up in here. So I get to the top, there's another door. I open the door into this grand hallway. It's like white and gold marble columns, but it's a long hallway. And there's a bunch of doors going down, and then another door at the very end. Immediately, I'm like, what is this? Where am I? And a little freaked out, obviously. Something was calling me to go to the door at the very end of the hallway. Forget all the other doors, go to the one at the end of the hallway. So I start walking down this very long hallway. And all of these doors are shut, right? And then I feel like something's watching me. I look and I see further down the hallway, one of these doors on the left side, an old woman, a very creepy old woman, is peeking her head out of the door and watching me. And then I would see her pop out of a different door and be looking at me, and then a different door and then be looking at me as I kept progressing down the hallway. Finally, I reached the end of the hallway to the door at the end, and I was so compelled to open it. So I opened it, and I left the door open. When I entered the room, I left the door open, okay? And it's a complete change of environment. The hallway was just white and gold marble columns, like very clean, very, I don't know, elegant. Walk into this room, it's like your basic old dusty attic. Boxes, spider webs, it's dark, creaky wood. And there's a circular window across from me at the other end of the room. The same exact circular window that you can see from the front yard where everyone is outside. So I walk over, I look out the window, and I can see everybody down there, but it's like there's a weird filter over it, where it's in like black and white, and they're all skeletons. Everyone's there, moving around like normal, grilling, laughing, playing, but they're skeletons. And as I'm registering this, processing it, the door behind me slams shut, and I turn around, and the creepy old lady is standing behind one of those piles of boxes, looking at me with the most sinister, it was the most evil I've felt in my life. I ran faster than I've ever ran in my entire life. Out of that room, back down the hall. I did not look back a single time. Back out the original door, back down the staircase, and I shut the crawl space door behind me. I grabbed my jacket off of the bed where I had set it before I went up there, and I put it on, walked downstairs and back outside like nothing happened. The next time that I come over to visit my grandparents, about a year later, I have not told my grandma this story. I've not told her anything. I come over, I go to sleep in this room. I'm already a little bit apprehensive about it because of the previous events. I step into the room, and I see that the crawl space is now boarded and nailed shut with blankets over it as well. They boarded that up. And then just recently, a couple years ago, I actually told my grandma about this, and all she does is go, yeah. Goodbye. I don't care if it's...
Okay, so what did y'all think about that? I mean, at first, it's like, let me go back to people in the comments. Oh, what is going on with my? Like, I'm telling y'all, my whole computer is acting insane tonight. Some people are saying, no way this happened. And then somebody else said, lived in the country in an old house in Oklahoma. That was my first clue. uh, um, people are saying it's like their own Coraline door. Look, I've got a Coraline door in my house. I do. But it goes outside. It is what it's supposed to be. I mean, it is kind of weird. I don't know. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? It is a weird thing. I mean, it is a good story. Is it true? I don't know. I don't know. Um, my Coraline door, there was something weird when we first saw the inside of the house. My Coraline door is right beside my fireplace, which is massive. And I love my fireplace. And it's it is a door that you put wood in from the outside of the house. You can load it to like stack it, and you put it from the outside and then grab it from the inside. But we didn't know what it was. And the realtor, I guess she didn't know either. And so me and Bella, who had been watching Coraline for years, I was like, look, there's a Coraline door. Oh my God. And we were already knew. Okay. We already knew the house was haunted before we ever saw the inside of it. Cause we didn't, the first day we saw the house and took pictures of the outside. Y'all know this story if you're on Spooky Southern. We already knew it was haunted, and then we actually, the next day or the day after that, something like that, we actually got to tour the inside of the house. So we we were afraid to open the door, and we're both like, okay. So finally, I pulled it open. I'm like, okay, let's just see. If there's a wall behind here, you know, that's going to be spooky. If there is like a tunnel, like we're locking this door like forever. We're like cementing it shut. But it was a place for wood, and then you can see from the outside it's just a door. It's just to put wood in. So, but it is really funny because it is exactly a Coraline door. Um, so I don't know if but if it had gone up to a stairway or something, I would have been, yeah, no, that thing is being sealed. Um, Interesting though. Do y'all ever have y'all had a Coraline door? What do y'all think? Um, Gretchen says, like a group of dead people in Victorian clothing trying to get through the door to get to me. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, spooky Southern tea. Hoosier. Um, that's my other channel. I see, Joey. I agree 100%. And when you go into a crawl space and opens to marble floors with gold trim, yeah, that's exactly. But you see, there's the thing. You and I, as adults, we're like, okay, you know what? Something ain't right here. But what did she say? She's about 10, something like that. When you're a kid, you're innocent and you're kind of like, oh, this is cool, right? You're not thinking, yeah, like Critter Mama says, kids are more open to experiencing things that adults miss. Yeah. You're not thinking of stuff like that. Um, Gretchen says, I had a door that led to a crawl space in the first apartment I lived in alone, and I had nightmares about that door for months. Well, you know what? Because so many people, have y'all seen all the videos of people like through crawl spaces and basements and attics? People living in your house with you, and you don't know, you know, food missing and stuff like that, which I have that, but I have, y'all know, again, on Spooky Southern, y'all know my ghosts eat food. It's insane. But they don't do it like my kids eat the food from the refrigerator. And it's like the ghosts eat the food when I'm sitting right there. Like there's no mistake. And like nobody's coming from the attic. Nobody's come. I'm right there and the food is disappearing. Where's it going? Like, excuse me, I am right here. Nobody has come into this room. But yet it's just gone. It's insane, the stuff that happens around here. Yeah, sounds like grandma's house had a portal. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. All right. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. We're going to watch one or two more and then we'll probably call it a night. A night. Let's see. Let's see. Y'all. Let's watch another toxic. Let's see. Let's watch a toxic Valentine's Day. Let's make everybody glad that they're single. And then I think I've got two more ghost stories.
Let's talk about how my ex-boyfriend regifted me my own phone for Valentine's Day. For those who didn't follow me before, if you take a quick glimpse at my page, you will see that I used to be in an abusive relationship. So one of his tactics was control. So about 8 months before the Valentine's Day that I'm talking about, we got into a really bad fight, and he had this thing where he thought that he could take my belongings. And on this particular fight, he took my phone and wouldn't return it back to me. So many days went by that he really was not trying to give me back my phone, that I had to file my insurance claim with my phone company at the time and report it stolen so that I could get a new phone. So he was aware that I was gonna go file my insurance to get my new phone because he wouldn't give me mine back. So he was aware of this. And he did not care. He actually found it kind of funny. So Valentine's Day is coming around, and he also had a thing where if we would argue close to a holiday, whether it be Christmas or Valentine's Day, if we got into an argument, he would return all the gifts he had already bought for me. So he would basically treat me like if I was a child, and he would punish me if we had arguments by returning my gifts. This Valentine's Day was no different. We fought, and he returned all the presents that he had bought for me. So Valentine's Day comes around. I give him his gift because I didn't return it because I'm not a child like him. He's giving me my gift, and can you guess what he's gifting me? He had gifted me the phone he took from me like 8 months before. And I couldn't even do anything with the phone because I had reported it stolen so that I could get a new phone. He literally left me speechless. So yeah, I am so glad I got out of that relationship. It was super manipulative and toxic, and I don't date shitty men like that anymore. So
There you go. Another reason to be glad you're single, ladies. Um, you know what? I just tell you, before we watch our last spooky ones, I I'm enjoying so much. I'm enjoying so much watching a coworker date. Okay, she is very much into the dating scene, and she wants to she wants to have a farm. She like I get it. She's younger than I am, and she really wants, and I guess maybe at her age I probably wanted similar things. Now I'm just over it. I'm just over it. I'm okay. Um, I have my own little situation. I'm good. And but I remember when I was her, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I'm watching her date, and somebody. I don't. Here's the way I'm just putting it. I'm putting it out there. Somebody has peed in the dating pool. Okay, somebody's peed in the dating pool, and it's toxic pee, and I, I'm just glad I'm not out there really. So she has. I'm watching her navigate all this stuff, and it's like insane. Like she met this guy. This is last week. She met this guy, and he was older, like a good bit older than her, like 15 years older than her. So he should have been settled and mature, and that's kind of like what she was looking for. She's like, I think people my age are just whatever. I just need to get older. So, he seemed the first date went well, and they talked really well, and he seemed mature, and things were progressing, and she had made a plan. She was going to surprise him for this week for Valentine's Day and all this stuff, and they're talking on the phone, and I don't know, things start getting weird, and he kind of just breaks it off with her, and I mean, things go wonky, which she's right. Like, you can't tell in a text, like when you're texting back and forth. um Things get very, even in emails, like when you're not talking face to face, or even on the phone where you can hear the inflections in somebody's voice, what people say even in emails are not, you don't really get what they mean, like the heart and soul of what people are trying to convey to you. So it's very difficult. But I mean, he broke things off because apparently this grown adult man, retired man, older man. Now he retired a little bit younger, but retired, okay, old enough to retire, felt like she was just not complimenting him enough, telling him that he was handsome often enough. He felt like he was complimenting her more than she was complimenting him. Excuse me, princess? I mean, I was just dying laughing. Like, first of all, I don't need a whole lot of compliments. So, I mean, I'm the wrong one to ask. Like, I don't need you. I mean, it's nice. It's nice when somebody tells me I'm attractive or I look nice or whatever. Like, I don't need you to tell me every 5 minutes. I don't need you to tell me every day. I need you to tell me if I'm looking like bad. Like, look, girl, don't go out in that. Girl, no. That would be more helpful. Otherwise, I assume I look okay. Um, but a man, sir, I feel like you need a shot of testosterone. Do you need me to tell you you're pretty? Because I think you're a girl. I just laughed. I just laughed. I'm like, okay, okay, I'm done. Somebody has had toxic pee in the dating pool. I can't with this. So, like, months and months ago, she's like, open up the part of Facebook that's like the dating. She just kept on and on and on. Like, you got to get out there. I'm like, I don't really want to be out there. I'm good. She's like, no, you don't want to die alone. I'm like, I really don't care. I've got my pets, like my kid. So then my kids started, Mom, you don't want to die alone. I'm like, I'm not sure that I don't. Like, I don't feel alone. Anyway, so after all this, after the holidays, like, I'm too busy. I'm just too busy. So after the holidays passed a couple weeks ago, I thought, had all these messages. Like, I've had messages on there forever, people I don't answer because I'm not really on there. I'm just like, it's there, but I never look at it. So I start this one person really seems interesting. We have a lot in common. I'm like, huh. Really, we have a lot of the same experiences. So we start texting back and forth on this app, and then all of a sudden, like, he's in a different state and he's having some family time. And had he just said, "Hey, look, I am really can't talk. I'm out here with a family event. I'll be back in town, blah, blah, blah." Okay. I would have been fine. Okay. Yeah, sure. Like, enjoy your family. Call me, whatever, when you get back in town or in the area. But he didn't. He just, like, in the middle of a conversation, he just stopped talking for like a couple of days. And then, so, I know from her what this means. This means that you started talking to somebody else, because I already know. I'm watching her whole thing. Been watching this for months, saying, this is what these men are doing. And so when several days later he picks up the conversation where I had asked him a question, he picks it up as if we were just talking 5 minutes ago. I'm like, no, because what happened is you started talking to somebody in the middle of our conversation that you must have thought was hotter or more interesting or whatever. Because you didn't even give me the courtesy to say, hey, like, I'm really busy with family. I'll talk to you in a few days. That would have been fine. Perfectly fine. I'm a big girl. It's fine. So in the meantime, this other man messages me. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say he was pretty. He was interesting looking, and he seemed to be funny. And I'm like, oh, well, you know what? Hey, humor. Humor it means a lot to me. You need to be funny. Like, I can only look at somebody for so long, and then we got to have something else. You got to have a brain. Brains are really important. Humor is really important. Looks, not so much. So we start talking. This guy, he's on fire as far as, like, we are like we have a lot of the same viewpoints on stuff, and he's really funny and I'm enjoying our conversation. So we talk for like a good portion of the day. Start talking in the morning, it's on the weekend, and then it's my son's birthday, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna be busy like for a bunch of hours because it's my son's birthday, it's family time." Like I might text here and there, but like basically don't expect a whole lot out of me because and I snapped him a few pictures along the way, like, "Hey, this is me and my family." Well, after we had talked for several hours, he asked for my Facebook. Well, I don't have an alternate Facebook, okay? I have one. Now, I've realized that these men, they have another one. If somebody gives you their Facebook and they're mostly just women and like not real stuff on it, it's just like some stuff, but it's not like their real life. That's their fake Facebook. So you don't know what's on their real one. They could be married. You don't know. So when he gave me his Facebook, I'm like, yeah, this ain't your real Facebook. All right, that's fine. I've got one. So I'm just pictures back and forth. And I guess he got a little bit perturbed. But I mean, like, this is my family. Sorry, it's my son's birthday. I mean, he's a grown adult, but we're having family time. So the next morning, we start texting again, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he starts nagging me. If y'all know what nagging is, it's like where all of a sudden, it's like it's backhanded stuff. So he starts giving me all this YouTube advice, which is fine. It's fine. Like I'll take advice, but the problem is you don't have a YouTube. You made a like a Spotify podcast idea. Great logo, great intro, like music and all that kind of stuff. Like it's great. And I told him that. I'm like, this is a great idea. Great, like a presentation. No episodes. No YouTube. Like there's a little YouTube channel where you did like a couple like little reviews of stuff. But it's not like really working that channel. It's just like 2 videos or 3 videos, something like that. So I don't feel like you are qualified to give me advice on a YouTube channel. But I listened and I didn't tell him that. I'm just like, okay. He's like, well, you need to try this. You need to try. And you have not watched my YouTube channel, sir, but you are giving me advice on this. Okay. I listened. I'm like, okay, well, I've tried this and I've tried that. It didn't really work. I don't know why it didn't. Tried it, but it didn't work. But thank you. And I will help you. Like I would love to help you launch your podcast. Okay. Crickets. I'm like, okay, he doesn't want my help. All right. So then the next thing, he's like, what do you do in your free time? I'm like, haha, free time. That's funny. And so I'm like, okay, I do this, I do that. I was like, oh, by the way, I wrote a book, Lizzie Borden, blah, blah, blah. It's over here behind me. He's asking me a little bit about it. And I said, this is much research over many years. And then he starts telling me why I'm wrong. He's like, well, police forensics at the time are not the same as what they are now. I said, sir, I'm not going by police forensics. He said, well, what are you using? I said, eyewitness accounts. He said, well, eyewitnesses are unreliable. I said, well, the clock tower rang. I said, it's a matter of time. Clock tower rang. Multiple people, both inside and outside of the house, all confirmed the time of the clock tower ringing. He's arguing with me that I'm wrong about the book that I wrote when he is not. Like, if you had studied this case at all, I would listen. Look, I will debate somebody. Say hi. I will debate somebody on this case. Be glad to. I will debate you all day. But, sir, you haven't studied this case. You don't know jack doodly about this case. And you are negging me and telling me I am wrong. I'm like, what kind of crackpot are you? This is my second day of talking to you, and already you're talking down to me and negging me and telling me I'm wrong about a book that I wrote that I spent decades reading articles, studying this case. Really? Mr. No Channel? Look, I couldn't. I stopped talking. I'm like, yep. Toxic dating pool. So there you go. I am happily alone on Valentine's Day. So y'all, that's what I'm saying. This is what's out there, ladies. And I keep telling people who I know have good men. I'm like, y'all, when you think about it, and that's the amount of people I know that have good men, very, very small. I'm like, y'all hold on to them. When you think they're on your last nerve and you wonder what's out there, stop. Stop. Don't wonder. Let me tell you what's out there. Toxic toads. That's what's out there. Over and over, that's what I find. Okay, let's listen to some ghost stories, y'all. Yes, that guy was a narcissist. Oh, yeah. I know, right? I know. I'm like, I was definitely like, because I couldn't believe we went from such a good conversation to, you're telling me I'm wrong about a case you haven't studied. And you're telling me how to do a channel that you don't even do YouTube. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Don't lick don't lick toxic toads. I need to I need to make a t-shirt, don't I? The dating pool with toxic toads like all in it. Yeah. That needs to be a t-shirt. All right, let's look at some ghost stories. We're done with the toxic. Let's get into the spooky. Love the spooky, and then we'll probably call it a night. Toxic toads. Let's see. Here's a good one. Let's see. What is this one?
Weird spooky dating stories. This happened a few years ago. My mom had an ex-boyfriend who unalived in a motorcycle accident, and it happened to be the 20-year anniversary of his death. That night, I ran into a store to get a few things while my mom stayed in the car and waited for me. My mom used to work at that store, and I grew up going there, so it's safe to say we knew almost everyone who worked there. Because of that, it didn't surprise me when I came out and saw a guy sitting in the passenger seat next to my mom. I just assumed it was one of the guys who worked there. I walked up to the car and bent down to look through the window to see who my mom was talking to, but no one was there. Within less than a minute it took me to walk to the car, the seat was empty. No one was inside except my mom. I got in, sat down, and suddenly felt ice cold air go straight through me. I turned to my mom and asked her two questions. First, were you talking to one of the guys from the store just a minute ago? She gave me a weird look and said no. Then I asked, did you have the AC on in the car? Her response was also no. I left it at that and didn't say anything else about what I saw until a couple months later. When I finally told her, she went and pulled out her old high school yearbook and opened it. I pointed at a picture and said, "That's who I saw sitting next to you." She looked at the picture and said, "Yep, that's him." I told her he looked kind of grumpy. She explained that he always did. It was just the way he was. Without ever meeting this guy, never having seen his picture before, and not even knowing his real name, only a nickname, I was able to point out her deceased ex boyfriend in her yearbook. I have no doubt in my mind that it was him sitting next to her that night. I think it's really cool that it was like the 20th anniversary of his unaliving, and he came and sat with her. Like, they still have that kind of connection even after all these years. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, or if any of you have ever had an experience like this, send it my way. Weird, spooky.
Okay, let me ask you this question though, because I have. It sounds like they had a good relationship. Okay, and that's great. Interesting. Maybe she doesn't mind, but how would you feel if you knew that somebody, an old flame from high school, whatever, was still like hanging out after like decades, whatever, you know, still hanging out with you, still coming to visit? I don't know. How do you feel about that? Because I don't think I'm okay with that. I mean, maybe I didn't lose somebody in high school. I didn't lose a high school sweetheart. Maybe I would feel differently if I had a close relationship with somebody like that. I mean, I have a high school sweetheart that um is deceased now, and it was in a very, very terrible way deceased. And oh my gosh, it's probably been at least 10 years ago that he passed away now. I mean, I keep in contact with his brother, and his brother let me know, which it really wasn't surprising because he was living a very rough lifestyle, and he almost about 2 or 3 years prior to that, he had been like from here to here and almost passed then. Um, it was a miracle that he lived through that one. And I mean, I wasn't in contact with him. I think we talked on Facebook like maybe once. Um, we just we didn't live in the same area. We lived in the same state, but not the same area, and just way different lifestyles. Um, his brother I have talked to several times, but yeah, I mean, even at that, I wouldn't want somebody, you know, even though our families were close, like when I was growing up, my mom and their mom were like besties. And so, I saw them a lot. It was a close family thing, but I don't think I would want anybody like hanging around me. It's weird. Like, you know, and is it really them? I don't know. How do y'all feel about that? I don't think I really want anybody I know hanging out with me. Like, just go on. I can't think of. I mean, there's one person that passed away suddenly when I was in my 20s, and I felt I didn't know him very well, but I felt if he had lived, I feel like probably there would have been we probably would have known each other very well. I mean, we possibly would have had a long-term relationship or something. And I was very devastated by his passing. I don't know. It was very convoluted too, because I don't really think that things happened the way that people said that it happened, and his mother didn't either. But it is what it is. And it was weird though, because for several months after his passing, I felt his presence. Isn't that weird? I felt like he was not like he wasn't at peace, but he wasn't completely at peace. And it finally just faded. And I felt like whatever, I don't know, maybe he just had to make himself at peace. And I don't ever sense him around me or anything like that now, but I certainly did for a while, which I thought was weird because I had only known him for about, I don't know, about a month. And actually, the night that he passed, we had a date. It was going to be like our first, we'd been, hanging out at other times, but it was like the first time that we were actually going somewhere together, like actually. And, and he didn't show up, and I knew he was super excited about it. And, when he didn't show up, I just knew. I knew something was terribly wrong. and they found him the next day. So, but other than that, I've never had anybody hang around except for the goobers in this house that, for whatever reason, don't want to leave, but I don't know them. Um, but how would y'all feel about that, though? Let me see in the comments. Has anybody said, do y'all have hangers on? Joey says, when your body dies, your spirit still lives. True. And they do look after you from the other side. I mean, if you want to look after me, that's fine. I don't know if I want you sitting beside me, though. I don't know. You wish your dad would come and visit you. I don't know. You think that. Have you ever seen, Joey, though, that movie, uh the movie, let me think what it's called, The Lovely Bones. We think we want to see them, but if you remember, maybe you've seen it. If you haven't, but if you, I would say watch it. Um, but if you have seen it, remember the part where the dad is building the ship in the bottle. And I mean, he's having a hard time. He's trying to deal with his grief, but it's something that, was special to them. And as he's there, she is at the window, and he can feel her presence so strong. And like, he wants to move on. He wants to, the wife is, telling him to just let it go, let it go. And he can't let it go. He's having such a hard time because she's hanging around, and she's trying to, like, send messages to her family. I mean, letting them know what happened. And, he can feel her presence so strongly at that moment, and there's so much grief inside of him. And then he gets angry, and he takes the bottles, and he's just breaking everything because of the grief that he can't handle it. And when I saw that scene, I feel like maybe that's why, or maybe that's why things happen, and maybe that's why God doesn't allow that, for people to just hang around all the time. Or, maybe that's why it's not supposed to happen, because we can sense them, and it reminds us of our grief and our loss, but we can't see them to know that they're okay, or we can't communicate with them. So all we are reminded of is the heaviness of their loss. And so, I think after that, she tries to back off and not come around like she did, because it was just too much for her dad to handle. And I think sometimes that is the way it is. We can't process because we can't see them, even if we can feel them right there. We can't process that. And so it just brings the heaviness without the relief of saying, oh, hey, they are okay. We just have the memory. That's my thought. Um, Seeing that film, it's horrific. It is. It is. It is. It's a hard film to watch. Um, in some ways, I think the first time I saw it, I had PTSD. Um, I've watched it since, and I think the more I watch it, the more I understand it, and the more I appreciate it. Um, I think if you dive deeper into it and you get past the horror of what you're watching, there's a lot of interesting things that I like. I really like it now. It is hard to watch, especially the first, maybe even the second time. It's really hard to watch. And then I get to where I'm like, that's very interesting. I wonder if things really are that way. And then you get to see, how she's kind of helping the best she can from the other side, even though things aren't quite resolved. I don't know. I think it kind of gives some resolution if you think about it. You just have to dive on in there. Um, let's see. Well, I'm glad, Joey. I know I'm glad that you feel peace when you feel your dad. I mean, that's good. That's good. Um, I mean, some people don't, and I'm glad that you do. And if you get peace and not pain, then that's lovely. That is a lovely thing to happen. I felt that when only once did my grandmother come to visit, and it was very peaceful. It was very, very peaceful, and I enjoyed that. Okay, one more video, one more, and we're gonna call it a night. You survived Valentine's Day 2026. One more spooky. All right.
I just want to know if anyone else has had a paranormal experience like this. About 8 years ago on Valentine's Day in my grandma's house. So the only people in the house at the time were me, my parents, my brother, and my grandma. I was the only one awake. Everyone else was asleep. I'd put on Adult Swim to play in the background while I just browsed the internet. Around like 4:30 in the morning, I get a chill up my spine. I hear two children laugh, and for whatever reason, I know it's a boy and a girl. No, I'm the only one awake. And I turn to the TV to check the TV, and it's in the middle of a Family Guy fight sequence, so I know it's not coming from the TV. Then I check the computer sound settings because I think maybe it's coming from the computer, but all of the settings were muted, so it's not coming from that. For a minute, I'm just confused, and I just sit there. I still hear the laughs in the background, but there has to be a logical explanation. So remember, we're at my grandma's house, and I remembered, oh, she has a radio in the kitchen. Maybe it just came on, or a timer set it off or something. So I get up with the intention of going to check the kitchen for the radio, and I got up, and I kid you not, with each step to the door, the laughter grew louder. It started as just a little bit of giggling, grew into full-blown laughter, and after that started, then I start to hear a baby cry. Thing on my mind right now is, what the fuck kind of radio show is this? I took 3 steps, nowhere near the door. A few more steps, and the laughter turns hysterical, if not manic. At this point, the baby's cries had turned more into like a screaming and a wailing, and I could tell that like it was in pain. So at this point, I'm trembling, I'm terrified, but I'm on autopilot, and I just know that I have to get across the hallway to the rest of my family, who will hear the sounds too, and then we'll know what to do. So the last few steps I take increase the laughing and the crying to almost like a deafening decibel. Like I was at a concert and the speakers were blasting directly into my ears. At this point, it was actually painful, and it literally scared the shit out of me. All the courage I had in me, and I knew as soon as I hit the doorway, I was going to sprint. I get to the door, I start to run, and then something shoves me. 2 hands at my chest, and they shove me back into the room with enough force to get me off balance. Well, now that I'm back in the room, it's like all the crying and laughter had stopped completely. It all happened within 20 to 30 seconds, but it felt like 10 minutes. I was so scared that I cried myself to sleep in the tiny armchair and stayed there until my grandma came and made me go sleep downstairs in her bed. So I want to know if you've ever had a paranormal experience before. I just want to know if anyone...
All right. Have you ever been touched by a spirit? I definitely have. It's not fun. It's not fun. I don't like it. I don't like it. Y'all know how I feel about these spirits be touching you, hands on you. And a lot of y'all have sent in stories Um, I've had a lot of letters. I've had a lot of stuff in the comments about ghosts touching you. I've been touched. I don't like it. I hate it. Um, I feel like that is very much off limits. Off limits. No touching, buddy. Stay in your lane. Your lane is way over there. Don't touch me. Um, but anyway, okay. So Hoosier says not physically. Um, who was it? Somebody I know. Trying to think who it is that got somebody got pushed. I'm trying to think where, who, and where. Somebody got pushed on some stairs. Um, it might have been at the jail. There's several people I know that have gotten pushed. I've gotten scratched. I've gotten touched a lot. I've gotten scratched once. That was a long, long time ago. Um, I had that was, and it was under a sweater, under a sweater. It was a very demonic situation, and I felt the scratch. If you ever have a demonic scratch, it feels like burning. All of a sudden, you feel like there's a hot poker. You know, you feel the burn. It doesn't feel like, or at least to me, it didn't feel like a scratch. I didn't even know I was scratched. I was wearing a heavy sweater, so I'm like, I knew I didn't run into a doorway or anything like that. Like nothing touched me, but all of a sudden felt this burning sensation. And so, I mean, I was very young. I was in my early 20s. I didn't know what I was doing. I was in this house. I got involved in this situation where this guy was very much possessed. And I got dragged into a situation that I really had no business in, but had to get myself out of. And so when I was in the house, I wasn't there by myself, but I ended up pulling my sweater off my shoulder to see what was the problem, and I had a bloody scratch. Just now, wasn't three. Usually, they come in three. Every demonic scratch I have ever seen has come in three. You know, I don't know why that is. It's three scratches, but mine literally was only one. But oh my god, the pain. It was on fire, and literally there was nothing on my sweater, no tears or anything. And I when I say I did not hit a wall, I didn't run into anything. It just started, and it was bloody. Um and it took a very long time for that to heal. I don't know how to explain it. It was one of those kind of things that the scratch didn't want to heal. Um, how did I even get off on that? I don't even know how we got there. It must have been something I was needed to say to y'all. Oh, being touched. So yeah, I've been scratched, touched, pushed. Um, I I have had my feet come out from underneath me, and my ankle twisted, and then I swore that something was pulled out from under me. I felt it, like I literally felt it, but it just so happened that it was during long story short, it was on video, okay? And I was convinced, and so we watched the video back because my whole thing is I thought somebody had pulled a cord while I was right there, and I was fussy. I was mad because I was in so much pain, and it took so long. That was another demonic wound that it took a very long time for it to heal. Um, I watched the video back because they said you did not like you literally tripped on air, like there was nothing there. Nobody tripped you. And I'm like, no, I felt it. And we watched the video back, and They were right. There was nothing there. It was crazy. Crazy. Uh, so yeah, let's see. Oh my gosh. Um, let's see. Uh, Mrs. Natnat says to Sachi, she says, "Hi, gorgeous mini panther." Oh, Deb says, "Have you ever walked through a cobweb, but it wasn't really a cobweb?" Yes, yes, that is some weird stuff. Ooh, I didn't know that, Hoosier. Tucker Carlson had some scratches he said was from an entity. I didn't know that, but that definitely. My father dropped a door on my head. He wanted to give me a message to my half brother. I think I've heard this story from you, Samantha. Um, yes, I know I have heard that story. Um, yeah, Amityville Horror did depict this, and you know what? Uh, I've heard so many things about Amityville. It was true, it wasn't true, blah blah blah. It depends on. I'm looking at this stuff. If y'all are in the chat, um, yeah, I've heard this. Samantha has told. I've told this story. I want to tell you on the spooky Southern tea. I think you sent that to me, Samantha, about your dad dropping a door on your head because of. She's like, let me just for y'all that don't know. The message was about checking wires on a starter of the car to my half brother, colors of the wires to check and all that. Okay, yeah. It's a crazy story. Yeah. Um I would say I would normally agree with you, Joey, if you're a strong spirit. They won't touch you. I would say it depends. It depends on the level of warfare that you're in and what is allowed. Um that goes so deep, Joey. It really does. It really does. There are levels of warfare that a scratch is so minor to what the middle of what you're in. Um, um, I would say I would say I'm glad um you've never had any thing like that happen to you, even challenging spirits, Joey. I think I'm just gonna say this. It depends. It depends a lot on what your calling is and what you're being trained for. Okay, because sometimes you need a good battle. Sometimes you have to. There are some things you have to walk through. Um, certainly, and I know a lot of you are. I have a lot of people with all different kinds of beliefs between the two channels. Um, but certainly, if you are a Christian person, you understand that you are, uh, you know, Jesus said you have power over all of the power of the enemy. And I 100% believe that. I do 100%. Um, that being said, I do believe that there are gifts and callings and things that it's just like anything else. A soldier has to train. There are certain callings that require training, and for those things you have to be able to learn. You don't learn warfare by not doing it. You have to walk it out. Does that make sense? Am I making any sense here without getting too deep? Um uh let's see. All right. So, let's see. We had a haunted house up north in or around South Bend or Gary. There was a big write up about it in our local paper. Walls oozing out fluid, children climbing walls. Oh, hey, is that the one? I can't remember if that's in Indiana. There's that one. Where was that house at? And I can't remember what the house was called. What was that one called where I think Zach Baggins bought it and then tried to or he did do some kind of program on it, but then he destroyed it because it was so bad. And that was documented. Honestly, whether you believe Zach Baggins is full of crap or not, um, that was documented by police and social workers. So many people. I honestly worked at mm, a psych unit here. Well, not in my town because I don't have one in my town, but in a neighboring town, not too far away. I literally talked to a woman who's worked there at the psych ward for years and years, and she was telling me about a particular child. And there's so many kids that have so many problems. And she was a Christian, but she wasn't like a big one to say, oh well, this kid is possessed. And she was like, no, this kid was possessed. And she told me about firsthand. She said, I wouldn't say that about hardly anybody that's here. And I was like looking around thinking I would, but that's just me. Um, but she said this one literally would talk in a different voice at times. But she said the scariest thing is, she said, I kid you not, I literally saw this kid walk up the wall backwards. Backwards. And she said it was insane. She said the strength that this kid had, and she said there was no doubt in my mind that he was possessed. And I can't remember what happened. I think he was there for a while, and then I don't even know what happened. But I mean, it was the asylum. So, but she said that was the worst case she had ever seen. Um, um, Okay, yeah, the demon house. Yes. Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. Thank you, Samantha. Okay, yeah, the demon house. Yeah. I a lot of people say, and I'm not saying that. I think a lot of the ghost programs out here are manipulated. We'll just say that. I'm not saying that I think the places that they go are not haunted or they don't have paranormal activity. I absolutely think that probably most of them do because they've had so many reports and stuff. The problem is, ghosts don't usually perform on command. As a matter of fact, they usually like to perform when you're not prepared. That's my experience. Sometimes they're a little bit more active when they've been sitting in quiet, like nobody's been around for a while, and then all of a sudden there are people. But usually they're just they're like that frog. Remember the old cartoon where the frog wouldn't do anything. It was an old Warner Brothers, I think, cartoon. And the frog wouldn't do anything but go brrr. And then as soon as nobody was looking, he would sing. He had the top hat. He would sing and dance, and he would do all this stuff. And the guy's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make $1 million," and then he would take him in, and to the people to audition, and he would just sit there and go. Brrr. That's the way ghosts are, okay? That's the way they are most of the time. So I feel like when these people go in with all their equipment, it's not that there's not paranormal stuff that happens. They're just not going to do it for you, okay? So I feel like they end up manipulating or creating things or whatever to get a show because you now have brought your team out there. What are you going to do? Sit around a dark house and be like, yeah, once again, folks, nothing happened. You got a show to do. Something's going to happen. Something's got to happen, y'all. So, do I think they're true? Most of the time, I don't think what happens in these shows are true. I think when it actually does happen, they're like, whoa, golly, something actually did happen tonight. But but the fact that Zach actually destroyed that house and it was just so bad. I mean, that was one that I believe the social worker said a child walked up the wall backwards in the demon house. Like there was something seriously wrong with that house. That was a crazy, crazy one. Um, let's have a show about removing demons. I wish it was that easy. I wish it was that easy. There's so many things. There's so many things. And the problem with it is I've done a lot of that. The problem with it is that if you don't know what you're doing, you can cause more of a problem. And if you don't really have the authority to do what you're doing or trying to do, you can cause more problems than and make the problem worse. Let me tell you right now, make it better. Get rid of anything demonic in your house. Get rid of anything that's questionable. Certainly get rid of any Ouija boards. Anything in your house that is questionable. I would definitely, you know what? I would even say to this, if you have picked up, if you have been traveling to another country and you have picked up something from another country at a port or whatever, understand that most other countries, especially third world countries, hate us. They will sell you anything. They will, yeah, but a lot of those objects are cursed. I'm not saying all of them are, but you want to clean your house, get out any books that are any kind of questionable, anything that could have any attachment to it, any demonic books, anything that's not pleasant. Okay, I would pray over everything. Anything that gives you weird vibes, or you just pray and you just don't, you just don't know. Get rid of it. Anything that you've gotten from a foreign country, toss it. Get rid of it. I would get rid of a lot of, and I'm going to say this across the board. I would get rid of a lot of religious artifacts. Be careful about where you get anything, including crosses. Not every cross is a good cross. All right, I would pray about everything. Remember, a cross is also an instrument of torture. Be careful. Be careful where you get stuff from. Just just go through your house. Go through your house. Pray over every object, anything that is a symbolic of violence that is not. I mean, and I say that, and you'll see on my. I've got swords. I've got medieval swords all over my walls. They do not bother me. Okay, it is allowable for me to have. It's going to be different for every person. Um, but anything that makes you feel that makes you question, pray about it. If you get a weird, I'm not sure about this. Um, I've got Scully back here. He doesn't bother me. But for some people, that would not be a good thing. There are a lot of Halloween objects that I cannot have. I cannot have anything in my house, even play. I say play. Can I have anything in my house that says spells, potions, even just that little Halloween funnies. Can't have anything like that. Okay? It's a no for me. So you have to find your own. You have to find your own okay, what's okay with you and your maker. All right? I wish I could tell you across the board, but that's the number one thing. You want to cleanse your house, get rid of crap. Let me see what you're saying. I would like to have a show how to get rid of bad neighbors. Yeah, I finally got rid of mine. I just prayed them out. I was like, God, please, if it's a daily thing. I think they were all on substances, stayed up all night. Let's see. Miss Nat Nat says, I read a comment years ago from someone on a forum who said they live in the neighborhood of the demon house, and they said that the house was still standing. So who knows what was actually demolished? It makes me wonder if they kind of just spread it around. Nope, it can move from one person to another. True, some things can. There you go. Can look at that. Samantha says the demon house had a dark magic altar at the bottom of the basement stairs. Ooh, I don't doubt it. I think I did see that. Yes, you can also get some bad stuff from Goodwill. And I mean, yard sales. Here's the thing, you don't know. I've gotten stuff before, and I can't even explain. Like, I love to thrift. I love to go to yard sales. I just like unusual stuff. And so I'll just go and I find stuff at antique stores even, um, that I just like it. I like it because I like it. I don't know why I like it, I just do. Like the shape of it, like the color of it, something. And then I get it home, or maybe I don't even notice, and I don't even put two and two together, but then somehow or other, I realize that things are not normal, okay? Like really bad things are happening in succession. Or sometimes I'm just dumb and I never noticed that. And then sometimes I think, I'll be going through the house or dusting, which ain't that often. But, I'll just be going through and all of a sudden you pick up something and you're like, all of a sudden you get this bad, funky, it feels heavy and dark. You're like, oh, I really like this. Or you have this dream or something, you get this feeling that there's something in your house that shouldn't be there. Maybe you have a dream. I don't know, something. And you go wandering through your house and all of a sudden you realize it's something that you really like. Oh, I hate it when that happens because it's something that I'm really attached to. Like, I really like it. It's like I'm like, but God, it's so pretty. It's so unusual. It's so pretty. How could it be bad? It's like butterflies or something. Like, it's so pretty. But yet I know in my soul there's something wrong with it. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It's not like it's looks demonic, but there's something wrong. Either somebody has placed an attachment, has put a spell on it, or it was wrong from the manufacturer. I don't know. There's something wrong with that object. And when I know there's something wrong with it, I usually break it. I usually pour oil over it and I break it and burn it. That's what I do. Who's your daddy? Yes, I've told people to get rid of anything that would invite these entities in. I tell my children not to watch movies about this stuff. Yes. And there are times that I can watch stuff and you have to know, like, feel in your spirit. Y'all have a knower. Everybody's got one. Some people's are dull because you haven't been using it, okay? You haven't been using your knower. But everybody's got one inside here. There are seasons where I can watch anything. It doesn't matter. I don't have anything in my spirit that tells me that I can't. I mean, there are certain things I don't watch anyway. But when I say anything like I can't watch a spooky movie like Insidious, or I don't watch slasher movies. I just don't like them, But like things like Insidious or other kinds of, zombie movies, whatever. There are a lot of times, like most of the time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me. But there are certain seasons of my life that inside I know, okay, for right now, until further notice, I can't watch anything. Not anything that's dark. I can only watch good things. Like for right now, nothing. It can only be like comedies. It can only be, documentaries. It can only be things that are not in the dark, occult, whatever, scary. Why? I don't know. I just listen to what's inside. And I'm like, okay, got it. And then eventually it's like, okay, everything, whatever, that cloud has passed. I'm good. Um, I've collected religious artifacts and books since the 70s of all religions, but I cleanse my yard, home, pets, belongings quarterly. Well, that's a good thing. Yeah, you have to cleanse, definitely. Especially if you're going to have, things that could be questionable. Not everything is, but you have to, you just have to. Um, yes, this is very true, Deborah. Yes, make sure it's not attached to you personally. Um, let's see. Mirrors. Yeah, mirrors are a problem. And let me just tell you, mirrors, this is kind of historical. Um I did a whole video on mirrors on spooky southern tea. And this is back several years ago when it was called Avalon Cottage. It's on a playlist that's called Southern Traditions or Southern Folklore, something like that. Actually, I go back to that. I wish more people were interested in that because there's like I did bottle trees and I don't know, several things, but the mirrors, when I studied that one out, that was one of the most interesting videos to me that I've ever researched. And now I feel like I could find so much more. Um, but the things that people believed about mirrors and actual attachments to mirrors, and there was a whole lot in that video because at that time I was trying to keep them short. There's so much more that I did not put in that video. about mirrors that it's really creepy. Y'all, there's some creepy crap about mirrors that you've probably never heard. It's very interesting. So it doesn't surprise me at all. Um, let's see. Love to look around Facebook Marketplace. Uh, now see, I've not seen that episode of Unsolved Mysteries where people got a possessed piano. Look, I don't doubt it. Look, sometimes anything can be possessed for sure. Yeah, I torch things in the fire pit too, Critter Mama. Absolutely. I do think mirrors are portals a lot of times. Um uh The show tonight is giving you the heebie-jeebies. Sorry about that. Oh. Ah. Look, Smoky Mountain Robin, a lot of people I did not know that. I did not know this forever. I usually don't have the mirror facing my bed, but that's because only for vanity reasons. It seems like there was one place I did have the mirror for a short time at the end of my bed, and I can't remember why. Maybe it was a hotel room. I can't remember. It seems like hotels do that, don't they? Sometimes. Um, but mine's just for purely vanity reasons. I don't want to wake up and see that, like hair sticking up everywhere. It's like, oh God. Like, it's just too early for all this. Like, stop. I haven't had my coffee yet. Nobody wants to see this hair. Like, y'all see how it is on here. Imagine it like this everywhere. Like, nobody wants to see this until you've had some coffee. No. Dang. But yes, I've heard this. This is why people say it creates a portal. I didn't know that. But people say that people see things in it like it's weird. Uh uh yeah, I won't have a mirror on the wall of my bedroom. Oh, thank you, Joey. I do have a mirror. It's beside my bed though. So I get out of bed and I stumble past it. I'm not even looking. I don't even see myself till I go to the bathroom and I'm not even looking there. So I have no idea until later in the morning and then I'm like, oh, nah. Um, let's see. Let's see. I think my yard mysteries are the puckwudgies. I've heard of that. Heard of that. Um, I don't know, but I won't have. I've heard such terrible things about mirrors that I didn't know about the end of your bed portals. And have you heard? I've heard these stories about people waking up and their mirror is at the end of the bed, and they see themselves like sitting up or doing stuff in the mirror, but it's not them. Like they're doing, like their body is doing something else, but them in the mirror is doing something, and there's somebody standing beside them in the mirror, and they're not. It's like, you know what? I'm just not gonna take the chance. I'm just, you know what? there's enough. There's enough in life. I don't. I have the TV, the big cabinet that holds the TV. It's at the end of my bed. YouTube's scary enough, especially with all these Epstein files coming out. Scary enough. Don't need the mirror there. All right, we have been on, oh my God, for 3 hours talking about this stuff. Well, I hope you had a good Valentine's Day, hangout, whatever, just talking about stuff, just stuff, scary stuff, some funny stuff. Glad that for one, glad that I am single this Valentine's Day. And I remember when I used to go through the stores in January and early February being sad because I was single. I go through there now like I appreciate the pretty colors and I walk through there and I'm like, "Oh, thank God. Thank God. I'm out of that." Like you just thank God. I'm done. I'm done with all that. And especially with the few conversations I've had watching my coworker date, it's enough. It's enough to remind me why I'm not in that pool, that toxic pool. All right. I hope you enjoyed it. I have no exit because I have no nothing. I have no outro except the little butterflies, which I guess I'll put up there. But anyway, I hope you have a great one. I will be filming some spooky videos probably for next week, at least one. And y'all, if you are on Silky Southern, I'm going to try to go live with Epstein and probably do some videos, something. We will talk about it on Silky Southern. It's dark, it's awful, and you want to see me get mad? You want to see me lose my temper? You want to see me? Yeah. Yeah, I'm all about you. You thought I got heated at Delphi? You ain't say nothing. That's all I got to say about that. I'm a different person when it comes to that kind of stuff. All right. I hope you have a lovely rest of the night. I will see you later. Whatever you do, stay spooky and stay silky. Bye bye.